go ahead and visit MetLife's global headquarters in New York City, where the next session is taking place in MetLife's historic boardroom. We're going to hear a fireside chat between Robin Gordon, MetLife's head of data and analytics, and Michel Khalaf, MetLife's president and CEO. They're going to be discussing MetLife's commitment to innovation and how events like this bring a more fair work environment. Hello, Robin and Michel. Turning it over to you.
As Katie mentioned, I'm Robin Gordon, the Chief Data and Analytics Officer here at MetLife, and I'm joined by Michel Khalaf, our President and CEO of MetLife. And we want to talk a little bit more about the subject of today, which is not only women in STEM, but how we recruit and retain women, and how important it is to have that diversity and inclusion to help us solve some of the big challenges of today's society. So before we get started with the questions, I wanted to turn it over and welcome Michel and have him say a few words.
Thank you, Robin. And I apologize for my voice, by the way, but hopefully it'll hold up. Really great to be with all of you this morning, and nice to see this sort of more hybrid model in action. I'm amazed by sort of how this event has grown over the past 4 years. And when I met with Robin and Bill earlier this year to talk about this year's event, I think the target that you had set was to double the participation compared to last year, and I think you've managed to more than triple it, which is great. So congratulations on that. But I think that speaks volumes to the speaker lineup that we have for this event, and to the great partnerships that we have with the some of our Research Triangle partners. There are 17 of them. I can't name all of them, but just to name a few: Microsoft, IBM, SAS, Accenture, and did I mention Microsoft?
You did.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's great to be here and to participate in this event again.
Wonderful. Excellent. Well, you heard that today's theme is focused on inspiring the next innovation wave. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about what that means to you and the role you see STEM playing in helping that innovation wave.
Yeah, I think this this event comes at a very critical moment, I would say, because if anything, the pandemic, as well as the war in Ukraine, some of the economic challenges that we are seeing and facing really across the globe, have exacerbated a problem that I think existed pre-pandemic, and have brought it even more to the fore, which makes it even more important, more critical, more urgent for us to deal with this issue. And if we think about the major socioeconomic, global socioeconomic challenges that we face, Bill referenced health equity, community resiliency, then clearly STEM disciplines will play a major role in coming up with the innovations, with the solutions for some of these challenges and problems. And I think Bill referenced some of the research that we do with employers and employees, and that clearly points to the importance of having more women in STEM disciplines, and making sure that also women are elevated to leadership positions, because that's what's going to facilitate innovation in that field. So I think that it's very important for us to talk about this, to take stock of where we are, and hopefully also to start to think about how can we move the needle, because that's going to be very important in terms of just impact to the world, broadly speaking. So a very important, I think, topic, and a timely also time to discuss.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, definitely. As we did the research, we found that the impact to women in some of this socioeconomic issues is very, very different than in other groups. So it's important to have that representation and inclusion. So next question, last year you participated in the UN Global Compact's Target Gender Live Conference. That's a mouthful. And you said something quite profound that really struck a chord with me. You said that the best ideas come from the teams who can openly challenge the status quo and feel accountable for progress. And I'm really curious kind of how you see progress and specifically challenging the status quo as we contemplate STEM and encouraging more women into STEM.
Sure. So I think first of all, we must recognize that what we have done so far has not gotten us to where we need to be, and continuing to do the same thing is unlikely to help us get to where we need to get here. So I think that that's an important sort of foundation as we think about the journey ahead. And that's why challenging the sort of old trusted ways of doing things is going to be important if we're serious about making progress. So that starts with making sure that we are attracting more women into STEM disciplines. And I think there's a lot we can do on that front, including setting clear targets and objectives and holding ourselves accountable to achieving those targets and objectives. But that's not going to be enough, because once we do attract more women, we need to also create a culture where not only can they thrive from a career perspective, but a culture that encourages diversity, encourages innovation, fosters that sort of spirit, and where failure or setbacks are not seen as sort of the end of the road or the end of the way. They are seen as a step in finding the solution. So I think those are going to be extremely important elements in terms of making progress here. And my experience has always been that whereas strong sort of support from the top is important, the best ideas are grassroots ideas. And if I look back at our journey here at MetLife on the DEI front, I can clearly point to the fact that, and I think my colleagues will agree with me, that the best ideas actually came from a lot of our women's business councils, and it was really a grassroots effort. But building a culture where our teams feel that they are empowered to challenge the status quo, to come up with new ideas, new concepts, and that once they do, we will take action based on that feedback, I think is critical in making sure that we make progress on this front.
That's wonderful. Yeah, really agree with you there. I want to change gears a little bit and talk about the role that you as CEO of MetLife have played in not only maintaining sort of a baseline of focus on sustainability, but you've really made sustainability a priority for MetLife. Can you elaborate a little bit on why it was so important to have a sustainability agenda for MetLife and kind of the role MetLife plays in that agenda?
Sure. So I think it all starts with purpose, and we're a purpose-driven company. And when I sort of started my tenure as CEO with the team, we started with clearly articulating our purpose and then making sure that that purpose resonates across the organization and is really owned by our teams and our people. And our purpose was the anchor to our Next Horizon strategy. I would also say that that clarity of purpose was extremely important during the pandemic, because whereas there was no clear roadmap on how to navigate a situation such as the one we were in, having that clarity of purpose was very helpful in making decisions that ultimately proved to be quite impactful, quite effective. So I would say that's the foundation. We also like to think of ourselves here at MetLife as a force for good, because the very nature of the business we're in, being there for people when they need us the most, I believe there's a noble aspect to it. But we need to also build on that, and I think we do so by one, focusing internally on what we can do to become a more diverse, more inclusive organization, but also looking at how we can contribute externally. And part of our purpose is this virtuous circle in terms of our stakeholders, our people, our customers, our communities, and our shareholders. So making sure that our people are energized feel included, are empowered to act, to innovate, to be there for our customers is very important to us. And so is supporting our communities as well. So, those are all sort of key reasons why this is important to us. But ultimately, I would say that, it's important to do good, but there's also a business and financial reason for focusing on the EI and sustainability, because it is our core belief that being a more sustainable, more diverse, more inclusive company will allow us to perform better financially and deliver more for our shareholders. So, for all those reasons, we're not sort of in the camp of doing the bare minimum. We are really sort of focused on how we can lead by example and, hopefully make a contribution that extends beyond just, our own walls.
That's great. So you do highlight the role that large companies like global companies like MetLife hold, and speak to the accountability of those organizations. As we think about women in STEM and women in the workplace, really, what responsibility do large companies like MetLife and you specifically as a CEO have in addressing the opportunities and the challenges that women in the workplace?
Yeah, I would say a very, very big responsibility. I mean, like Bill, this is something that I'm passionate about. I don't have 4 daughters, I have 2 daughters. And 24 and 22, one of them is already sort of, part of the workforce. One is about to embark on that journey. And, obviously I want them to have, the same opportunities, if not better opportunities than, their male counterparts. And, but also I think they and their generation are very, attuned to, socioeconomic issues and challenges. They care deeply about those things. And they want to make a difference. They want to contribute. And I think our job is to, not discourage it by suggesting that these are bigger issues that only governments or big business can help resolve, but to find ways to get them involved and engaged and do so in a manner where they can still have a very successful career, one that they, feel good about, where, so it's combining that sort of purpose with, ambition and having a career that helps them achieve their aspirations. So, I think, we have an important role to play on that front. And I think, again, it starts with what we do here internally, but more importantly, I think, the role that we can play externally, again, and being a force for good and setting the example and, holding ourselves accountable. I mean, we, you can only raise the bar if, you set challenging targets and aspirations. And, we believe here that, it's important to go public with those aspirations and targets, commitments actually, I should call them, because we're serious about them. And those are part of my objectives. They're part of my team's objectives. We cascade them down across the organization. And whereas there are 2030 goals, we measure ourselves every year and we set targets in terms of the progress that we have to make. So, that's true for DEI, that's true for sustainability as well. So, so I think those things do matter in terms of not only sending the right message across the organization, but also in terms of making sure that we're making the right amount of progress in terms of this journey. And look, I don't want to suggest that we're perfect or I'm the first one to tell you that we have a lot to do here. But again, I think that commitment is important, and it certainly resonates with our people as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly attest to feeling it in my day-to-day and feeling, experiencing the journey and seeing how we're trying to push the envelope there. So it's great to be a part of that. Last question before we wrap up. I'm super proud to be a part of TTX because we're really focused, especially this year, on not only coming together as a community and identifying ways that as a community we can have a greater impact, but also as individuals, and sort of those small micro moments that make a difference in our day-to-day. As we look at the star-studded lineup over the next couple of days, and the agenda topics, which are diverse and widespreading, what would you want the audience to take away? One item to take away after the next couple of days.
One item is very limiting, so
I'll give you creative liberty.
So I think first and foremost, I think taking stock of where we are is very important, and really the recognition that we've actually gone backwards. I think it's sobering, but I think hopefully it'll be sort of a catalyst for the change that we need to make and the progress that we need to commit to. So I think that's important, and hopefully also it would provide us with a sense of urgency because we have to act now. I think the other thing, hopefully, and I'm sure just given the speakers, is to inspire, because inspiration is important, especially if we're gonna commit to making the change and to making progress here. And last but not least, I hope that everyone can walk away from these 2 days with at least one action item, because I think this is it's our collective responsibility to enable progress here. Everybody can play a role and play a part, no matter how big or small it is. So I hope that everyone can walk away with a commitment to do at least one thing differently, one action item that can help us move forward. And perhaps when we meet again next year, not only we can sort of, I'm sure we're going to have a new exciting theme, but maybe we can also look back and say, okay, well, we've made some progress at least, on this journey that we're on.
That's excellent. Yeah, our intention is definitely to make sure that we have an ongoing conversation through the year and very specific action items as a community within TTX. So I'll hold you to it, and we can talk about the progress we've made next year.
Sounds good.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate
Robin.
the time, and I'm going to turn it back to Katie now.
Yeah, thank you.